So today we thought we'd do something different for Jeep news. It's nice out, so let's use this as our backdrop. It's September, economists, August, so we're gonna jam in a lot of stuff today. SRT is back, bigger than ever. We got V8s in a Gladiator. There's a lot of changes coming for 4xe. We got a lot of stuff to unpack. The all new Cherokee, we're gonna talk about that, and some future Jeep stuff that's coming down the line. Let's dive right in. You're gonna wanna stick around to watch it all. And as a side note, this is the 6th brand new Jeep that we will give away. Huge thanks to our sponsor, Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. You will absolutely, someone is going to win this Jeep. We only sell 3,000 tickets. December 7th, we will raffle it off. Check out jeepsontherun.com and check out our other videos to see the past 5 Jeeps that we've given away. It's the real deal, and it's an unbelievable giveaway. All the proceeds, not all the proceeds, all of the money goes to Toys for Tots. Let's dive into our Jeep news. Let's start out with talking about SRT. So SRT, if you don't follow it, it is all the performance, the high horsepower, the V8, really known in the Dodge brand, but it does trickle into everything, into Ram and into Jeep. SRT is back bigger than ever. As you know, previously Hemi was a bad word in Stellantis land. Fast forward, now they can't get enough of it. And we're going to talk about that in a second. The rumor is that whatever it was before, we're going to laugh at it. 710 horsepower vehicle. Supposedly there's rumors that Demon might be coming back. Again, complete rumor. But guys, it's interesting. So let's talk about Dodge for a second. The Dodge EV Charger. I drove one. We've got a few reviews of the different body styles of them, the different trim levels. I don't hate it. I think there's a place for it. I really do. What's the longevity of it is? Rumors are it's going to be discontinued. I guess we'll find out. So we know the 6-pack is coming out. The 6-cylinder Hurricane twin turbo. In a lot of ways, the 6-cylinder actually outperforms the Hemi. We're going to talk about that in a second. But the 6-cylinder is on its way. Should be on dealer lots actually shortly. Now, I can't remember if it was Tim Kuniskis or Matt McClure, but one of them made the comment that, well, we know there's room for a V8 to fit into this vehicle. Now, there have been no official announcements from Stellantis saying that the V8 is coming out in the Charger, but let's be realistic. They're putting the V8 back in everything. The word V8 is a powerful word again, and I think we all would be shocked if it doesn't truly come back in that vehicle. Having said that, the 6-pack is coming out first, the Hurricane motor. But let's talk about the Durango for a second. So the Durango, we went from not being able to put a Hemi in anything. Now you can't get a Durango without a Hemi. Literally, you cannot buy a Durango without it having a Hemi in it. And now the 710 horsepower Hellcat Durango, the most powerful for the money Durango, is going to be coming out as well. And the GT with the V8 in it is right in the low 40s. So I think they're calling it the best bang for your buck V8 all-wheel drive powered SUV. We're going the right direction, guys. Jeep, Wrangler, Jeep products, their prices, depending on trim level, their prices have actually come down. New vehicles, 2026s are coming out, and normally there's always an increase. They've actually stepped them down in price. I think they're listening to their customers, right? Not everyone wants a $60,000 Wrangler. Having said that, let's talk about Jeep and the V8. Guys, I've said this before, but if you bought a final edition V8 392 Wrangler, it wasn't the final edition, right? We all know that. The final edition came out, then they said, oh, we're going to extend the final edition for another year. We talked about that in previous years. Well, now the final edition, or I should say the 392 Wrangler is here to stay. That's what they're saying. It's here indefinitely, whatever indefinitely means. It is here. So if you spent that extra money on that final edition, I hate to say it, shame on you. We know final edition and Stellantis are kind of, it doesn't mean final edition. It just doesn't. I love Stellantis. I love some of their products. I love all of their products. But final edition doesn't mean final edition. We've learned that with the Durango a long time ago. So having said that, the 392 is back, or it didn't leave, but now the 392 is back in a Gladiator. Now here's my thought. I love the fact that they're putting a 392 in the Gladiator. I love the fact they're on the gas with all of this high horsepower stuff. But a 392 Wrangler it's $100,000+. It's anywhere from 98 to 105, whatever, depending on how you get it equipped. It's called a $100,000 vehicle. Most people would never purchase a $100,000 Wrangler. It never was designed to be that. Never was. The buyers weren't that. So now you've got a Gladiator. Everyone's been drooling over a V8 Gladiator since the day of time. But why can't we just put a 5.7 liter Gladiator? Can we please just put a 5.7? Can we put a normal Hemi into a Gladiator? Can we put a normal Hemi into a Sport Wrangler? We need a V8 and a Gladiator or a Wrangler that can be an everyday, everyman's vehicle. Most of these people are not purchasing $100,000 Jeeps. They're not. I'm not saying there's not a place for it. There definitely is a place for it. Ray's had a few of them, and every one of them he's sold quickly. But when you're talking about the masses, the mass guy wants a V8, 5.7 liter, and a Sport, or maybe even a Sahara, but a Sport Wrangler. That's what we want. I know Jeep. I know you guys listen to us. You listen to your customers. Give us a cheap Hemi. Give it to us. It will sell. I promise you. So let's talk about the 4xe for a second. I'm obviously a huge 4xe fan. I own one. I've been a very happy owner of one. I run the 4xe enthusiast page that I started a number of years ago with 30,000 followers on there. We are huge 4xe enthusiasts. Having said that, so there's a lot of changes coming to the 4xe. You can watch this other video. We talk about 4xe's getting a different transmission. They're increasing some range on it. They're gonna tweak it. They're polishing it, right? It's been out for 4 years now, whatever it's been. So it's time to update that a little bit. So that's great news for the 4xe. The bad news for the 4xe is the $7,500 tax incentive is going away. For a lot of people, that is why they own a 4xe, is because of the tax incentive. Quite honestly, that's how I landed on mine. I actually sold my 19 JL Wrangler and bought a 21 4xe, put money in the bank and got a tax incentive, and low payments were lower. It just made a ton of sense. And I know there's a lot of people that actually bought the 4xe, not even because it was a Jeep, not even because it was a 4xe. They bought because the price was right with the tax incentive. So that's all good news, but in the 4xe, it's the #1 selling plug-in hybrid, great vehicle. But what is this $7,500 when it disappears? What does that do to the 4xe platform? Is Jeep going to subsidize that? Will there be rebates? They're going to have to do something. But if you're interested in that 4xe, do it before the end of September, because that $7,500 is going to go away. On all EV, on all electrics, on everything. So whatever it is you're looking at, if it's something to do with electric, you're going to want to get on board. But the new 4xe is going to have a little bit of extended range. And listen, this is not a 4xe video. We've got so much content on this channel about 4xe. But if you're one of those that's like, oh, I don't get it, it only gets 25 miles range, you got to understand the Jeep. It actually works really, really well. Huge fan. But I'm curious to see what happens when this $7,500 goes away. What's that going to do to the 4xe sales? Whether that's a Wrangler or a Grand Cherokee, I think it's going to play a role. So I'd be curious to see if Jeep steps in and helps subsidize some of that with some rebates. Let's talk about the Jeep Cherokee for a second. My love, when I see Cherokee, it's XJ. The box, the XJ is to me is the iconic Cherokee. And we've talked about this in previous videos, but just a fun fact. The owner of this dealership, Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, his father-in-law actually designed the XJ. Richard Teague, look him up, check it out. Super cool to even be able to say you kind of know, well, not kind of, you know a relative of the guy who designed it. Unbelievable story. But at any rate, I love the fact that Jeep has brought it back and they're recognizing the heritage. All of the vehicles, all of the commercials they talk about is the heritage, and they show the old XJ and they show the new Cherokee. Now, I haven't seen one yet in person. I've watched the reveal, which looked like more like something out of MTV than a Jeep commercial reveal. Nonetheless, it was cool, looked super exciting, looks fun. Jealous I couldn't be there. But the feedback I'm getting is it looks like a standard, run of the day SUV. Now, the price point I think is good. Now, as I don't know why they do this, but they bring out a new vehicle. They always bring out the Highline. It's always going to be the top tier one. It's going to probably be a $40,000 plus one. But you know, the lower ones are going to be in the low 30s. It's great. We need that. Jeep needs a price point vehicle. But let's talk about the design for a second. I see a ton of feedback saying, "Oh, if it looked more like the XJ, I'd buy it. You know, if it was more boxed off, I'd buy it. If it was more this, I'd buy it." I don't disagree. I wish they would have pushed the envelope a little harder on the design. I think it looks great, don't get me wrong, and I actually love the back end of it. But I wish they would have pushed a little harder on the design and just a little more retro. But I also am a realist, and I understand that that's not the majority of buyers for that vehicle. All these people are saying, "Oh, if it was more XJ-like, I'd buy it." Mark my word, that's the guy who's not buying it. That's the guy. He's not buying it. He's the internet. Those ones who are saying, if it's this, and this, I'd buy it. I got a funny suspicion that you're not the buyer, right? So I understand why they're a little softer with it making look exactly like an XJ, because they realize they're also catering to the masses that aren't XJ lovers from, you know, the 90s or 2000s, right? These are people that maybe don't even know what the heck an XJ is, and they have no idea. So kind of they walk this tightrope of like, they want it to look a little retro, boxy like the XJ and bring those customers back. But what's the bulk of the customers? Is it those, or is it general population that wants a cheaper Jeep? The reality is, I think it's this. And so you got to understand, that's why I think they're cautious. They're not as aggressive. They don't push the envelope quite as hard on that design. Having said that, listen, if they came back with a complete retro, like XJ exterior with like retro mod interior with all the feature creature stuff that we like on the inside, that would be so cool. In fact, I'd love to see someone do a retro mod on an XJ old body style with all of like the new dash. It would be a home run, and you would reach. But again, that's a niche audience, right? It's totally niche. At any rate, so I'm just curious, what is your thoughts? In about 2 weeks or so, I'm going to have the opportunity to see one in person, get my hands on the wheel, and check it out. So stay tuned. We'll give you some more honest opinions as we see them in person. When I first saw the Dodge Daytona in person, it was way better than any of the pictures could do it justice. So you just kind of never know. The pictures sometimes don't do the vehicles justice. I think it looks great. I think the interior pulls a lot of that Wagoneer S into it and looks nice. Again, I'm not bashing it. I wish it would, that at all. I wish it would actually just have pushed that envelope a little further on maybe the boxiness and a little more retro. But being realistic, I also understand why maybe they cut it off where they did. So let's talk about the Hemi for a second. We talked about in the Dodge Durango. It's back, you know, in full force. Here's something I find interesting, and I got this on my phone because I'm going to be honest, I can't always remember the numbers and I don't want to screw it up. So let's talk about the 6-cylinder Hurricane motor for a second. The standard one is 420 horsepower, 469 foot-pound of torque. The HO Hurricane, like you find in the RHO truck, is 540 horsepower and 521 foot-pound of torque. Now let's talk about the Hemi V8 with e-torque, what you're going to find in like the new Rams, is 395 horsepower and 410 foot-pound of torque. So it's interesting. Everyone wants the Hemi back, but if you actually look at raw data with performance and numbers, so that's never good. That is literally over my head. It's flight for life. I live right next to the hospital, and off they go. So hopefully everyone's okay. I never like hearing that noise. On a total side note, we did get an opportunity to tour the Flight for Life helicopter, and very, very cool. And hats off to all the medics who are up in the sky doing that. If it's something you do or you're a first responder of any sort, we thank you for your service. But I always get the goosebumps because I hate hearing that fly over my house because that means someone's hurt. Back to what we were saying. So it's interesting because with the Hemi, your actually performance numbers are less. Your fuel economy is worse, but everyone still wants a Hemi. So there's a perfect example. I'm just curious, if you were to actually go and buy a Hemi and you drove the high output 6-cylinder and it was more powerful, more torquey, and better fuel economy, would you go with the 6-cylinder or would you stick with the Hemi? The beautiful thing is, as Stellantis calls it, you have the freedom to choose. You have the freedom to choose right now, and they're giving you that option, and the ball's in your court, which is great. Do you still go with the Hemi because it's American V8 muscle, 8 cylinders of awesome exhaust noise, or do you go with the HO, 6-cylinder? I don't know, food for thought. Let me know what you think. The other thing I want to quickly touch on before we wrap up here is the Grand Wagoneer refresh. There's been some teases online, nothing official, but it's interesting because when the Wagoneer first came out, they were totally trying to pull it away from Jeep. They wanted it to be its own brand. In fact, the first original Wagoneers didn't even say Jeep on them. I mean, maybe a few little spots and headlights in the corner said Jeep, but they did not say Jeep. They were not branded Jeep. It wasn't, this is a Jeep. It was, this is a Grand Wagoneer, and it's a separate brand. They're kind of reeling themselves back in, and they're putting it back into the Jeep branding. And we've talked about this on other videos. In fact, we talk really in depth about the Wagoneer nameplate. And I'll post a link to that video here. It was between the Wagoneer and the Wagoneer S and the Grand Wagoneer and the Wagoneer L. A lot of people don't understand what the difference between them all is. You know, some people think, talking to my mom, oh, a Wagoneer S. Oh, I don't want a vehicle like that. It's way too big. No, it's smaller than a Grand Cherokee. Well, that's the Grand Wagoneer. No, that's the big one. Well, what's the Wagoneer L? You get it. It's confusing. So we talk all about that. But they finally, I think they're putting that Wagoneer, Grand Wagoneer, back into the Jeep nameplate. And if you look at some of the teaser refresh pictures, I think you'll see some stuff. But again, we're going to have a lot more on that coming up in the next couple of weeks. Jeep's got a lot of great stuff coming down the road. I think they're on the right direction. Prices are coming down. Choices are coming up. New colors are coming out. New features. New vehicles. There is a lot coming for Jeep. So sorry the channel's been a little slow. We're kind of getting back into the groove. Kids are back into the school. Travel's falling off, and things are kind of slowing down. Although we do have this event coming up December 2nd. You got to check out jeepsontheRun.com. We've got an awesome band, Semple. You might recognize the name from America's Got Talent or The Voice. He's been on both of those. Great local guy. He's going to be our headliner at our after party, where we'll actually give this exact vehicle away. We'll drive it into the grand ballroom of our local Marriott hotel, and we're going to pull a winning ticket December 7th. You don't have to be there to win, so if you're watching this and you live in California, great. Just you're responsible for coming to get it. You're responsible for all the tax titles and that kind of stuff, but it's free and clear. You own this Jeep. 100% of the ticket sales goes to Toys for Tots. We do not pay Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram back any money for this Gladiator. So 1 in 3,000 chance, assuming we sell the tickets, and this is yours. Guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate everything you guys do for our channel. Every little bit helps, and we'll see you in the next video.